Oh boy, let's go with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm live on both Facebook and on YouTube. It's funny because when people speak about this Kanye West situation, or Ye, as he now calls himself, when people speak about this situation regarding the so-called anti-Semitic comments that Kanye West made, a lot of people, especially a lot of niggas on the internet who's speaking up for Kanye, is missing one key thing. They missing one key thing. They sitting there crying over Kanye, talking about how he's being persecuted by the quote unquote powers that be for telling the truth, and how the powers that be is taking away millions from his pockets and are blackballing them because of him telling the truth. But these same dumb motherfuckers who are saying this shit is missing one key thing when it comes to this whole situation, is that Kanye West, or Ye, did this to himself. Yes, Kanye West, aka Ye, did this bullshit to himself. Why? Because he fucked himself over when he made that comment on Twitter, thus giving other people ammunition to discredit him and accuse him of being anti-Semitic. I mean, the whole thing started. This whole all these anti-Semitic accusations started when Kanye West went on Twitter and made a statement saying that he's ready to go quote unquote DEFCON 3 on Jews. These niggas on the internet who sitting and sticking up for him have forgotten that he said that he's ready to go DEFCON 3 on Jews. Now, for those of you that's in the military or have military experience, you guys know what the term DEFCON 3 means. But for those of you who don't know, the phrase DEFCON 3 is military terminology, which means that you're ready to go to war with someone within 15 minutes. And what happens? And what happens when a military is ready to go to war against another military or another country's military? That means that they're ready to kill that other country's military within the next 15 minutes. So when Kanye West made that statement on Twitter saying that he's ready to go DEFCON 3 on Jews, what he's saying, or what he's saying, what he said, or what could have been what could be properly interpreted as he's ready to kill Jews within the next 15 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Kanye West is that type to just go around and start killing people. But at the same time, the fact that he made that statement is the reason why he's getting all this hell right now. Is the reason why JP Morgan and Chase cut off his canceled his account. There's a reason why companies like Balenciaga, Adidas, and Def Jam cut ties with him. He lost millions because of that one statement. It doesn't matter what else he said. He could have said anything of truth, right? He could have said anything of truth, whether so-called black people are the real Jews, or so-called black Jews are making money off of black people, blah 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 blah. None of that, none of his damn finances would have been harmed if he have never came on Twitter and said, quote, that he's ready to go DEFCON 3 on Jews. That's what started the backlash, or in this case, the financial backlash of Kanye West. And a lot of you niggas, a lot of you dumbass niggas have a bad case of selective judgment, because when you guys come on the fake books and the YouTubes and start trying to defend Kanye West and his comments, you guys missing that one key that one key thing that I just mentioned. See, the thing is that it, the thing is that you niggas ain't got no power. All right, niggas around the world have little to no power whatsoever. Niggas don't want to organize or come together in order to actually rise above their circumstances to be in a position of power. SWP disciple, there's no obsession with so-called black people wanting to be the real Jews. So-called black people are the real Jews if you do your research. Please, if you're going to make a comment based on what you've researched. There's no obsession. It's actually true. So when Kanye West said that, it's actually true. But at the end of the day, if you don't have power, so what? It doesn't matter what truth you put out there if you have no power. You could tell the truth a million times, but if you don't have power in order to actually control your reality, then whatever truthful thing you say don't mean shit, really. See, once again, going back to what I said, right? Kanye West was going out in the public and making comments about a group of people who are extremely powerful. So when you're this bold, if you keep listen, you keep SWP disciple, you keep asking, okay, you said I'm saying we keep saying that and lumping it in with other statements like what changes if that's true and what does that mean? Listen, you asking these rhetorical questions and stuff like that. Let's stick to the topic, all right? You asking these questions. Oh, like what changes? Well, I don't know if it's a rhetorical question or if you asking me a fucking genuine question. But I don't give a fuck about all that. If that's how you feel, I don't give a fuck about all that. But going back to what I was saying, when it comes to power, right? Kanye West was bold enough to go out in national TV and to make comments about certain things that a group of people with power would do, which really right now is public information. Like a lot of people already know that. But guess what? But now when you're this bold, when you're a person of influence, like Kanye West, when you're a person that have a lot of popularity, like Kanye West, and you're bold enough to go out there in the public and say something about a group of these powerful people. Now, you got to understand, you got to know how to now be more strategic with how you play the game, because when you say that, you're going to have opposition against you that's going to try to discredit you. So understand, if anyone understands that, now they have to be wise and intelligent with how they operate. And it's not wise for someone to go on Twitter after they said something, after they, talk about how Jews make money off of so-called black people in the music industry, how, so-called Jews make, how so-called Jews control the so-called black voice. After making these comments, it is not wise to then go on Twitter and say, hey, I'm ready to go DEFCON 3 on Jews. Now you're giving the opposition ammunition to discredit your ass. So Kanye West shot himself in the foot when he made that stupid ass comment. It's dumb. If you want to be outspoken, if you want to be on if you want to climb on top of a fucking soapbox, and pretend to be this goddamn revolutionary, especially if you're a so-called black person, aka a person from a group of people that have little to no power, and you want to be bold enough to speak against people who are in a position of power to destroy your ass and who owns almost all industries where you've thrived in, then you must be intelligent enough to know how to speak up for what you believe in and at the same time leave little room for the opposition to discredit you. Thus, you don't say some dumbass shit like, quote, you ready to go DEFCON 3 on so-called Jews. You don't say stupid shit like that. All the other shit that Kanye West said about the small hats, what you would like to call them on the internet, and what they do behind the scenes in the music industry, okay, that's fine and dandy. But once you go on Twitter and make that statement, you then have given the opposition the opportunity to publicly destroy your image, because when you say the quote DEFCON 3, you're saying that you're ready to kill these small hats. You don't say stupid shit like that. What's going on, Toya the Tutor or Toya the Texan? What's going on, Lucy? And what's going on for people on Facebook watching me? You don't say dumbass shit like that. Kanye West is a fucking dumbass. And for those of you who are making all these posts on the internet trying to defend them, you a dumbass too. Because you're too goddamn dumb to understand where this whole blackballing of Kanye West came from. It stemmed from him talking about he's ready to kill a group of small hats. You don't say that shit about a group of powerful people. Kanye West is so fucking stupid. He's been in the music industry for all these years, an industry that's controlled by the Ashkenazi Jews. He worked in the fashion industry, where a lot of the heads in the fashion industry are so-called Jews, right? Or Ashkenazi Jews. He's been in the forefront of the media, in which the overall majority of the mainstream media are owned by the same people. So he's been working around these groups of people that he speaks against for all these years. So he should understand that they're highly organized to destroy someone who is accused of being quote unquote anti-Semitic. So with all them years he's been around them, he should be smart enough to know how to properly maneuver in order to avoid being put in that quote unquote anti-Semitic category. But the motherfucker is too stupid to do that. He's a jackass. And you dumb motherfuckers on the internet are out here sucking his dick. So he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. So what? You tell the truth. But when you go against a group of people that have plenty of power, you have to know how to actually challenge them in a position of wisdom. Be wise with how you operate. This is what a lot of so-called black people, especially you niggas on the internet, do not understand about going against people of power. You don't know how to actually operate in a position of wisdom when you challenge people of power. You don't know that. You're too dumb. You so busy wanting to be this real nigga, or you so busy wanting to be a lot of you people on the internet are so busy wanting to be this nigga on the soapbox, right? You want to be this glorified nigga on the soapbox to stand up in front of everybody. You want to have this image of being defiant and shit like that, but you don't understand how to be defiant, but at the same time be wise at the same time. Thus, you be careful with your choice of fucking words. And Kanye West was too stupid to understand that. And not only that, if you're going, not only that, but you got to understand this, right? If you're going to speak against a group of people that's in power, make sure you empower yourself. I'm going to say that once again. If you're going to speak against a group of people who are in power, and the Ashkenazi Jew are a very powerful group of people, if you're going to speak up against them, make sure you have just as much power in order to boldly speak against these groups of people without suffering any type of loss. And Kanye West doesn't understand power. This is why he don't understand how to move correctly. And most of you niggas don't understand power. Most of you fake woke, most of you woke after 2016 ass niggas don't understand power and how it works. See, Kanye West, Kanye West really, throughout his whole career, worked for these same groups of people that he speak against. Yes, don't get me wrong, he owned his own companies and stuff like that. But a lot of but he owned his own company, but a lot of his his company, as far as his record label, distributed by Def Jam, which is most likely owned by some small hats. His signature shoe, right? Distributed by Adidas. I don't know if some small hats own Adidas. I don't know if some small hats own Adidas. But okay, let's just say this. This motherfucker work in the entertainment industry, and the industry is run by small hats. So if you work in the industry that's run by small hats and you're going to speak up against them, you have to be ready. You have to be ready for the opposition to make a counter move. Right? Not only that, if you're going to sit there speak up against a group of people who actually run the industry that you work in, I think that's stupid. I think that's stupid. I think that what so-called black people must do before they want to go up and trying to be some fake ass Huey P. Newton, they must actually own industries so they can be in a position of fucking power. For therefore, they can say what the fuck they want without actually suffering a lot of consequences behind it. Yeah, biting the hand that feeds them. And I've been saying this to niggas for years. I've been telling niggas for years that they must work on organizing together, come together, and become economically independent, truly economically independent, and start being industrious and own industries. But when I say that, I get 101,000 excuses from so-called black males, right? I've told so-called black males for years, let's fight for political power and political independence. And let's fight to actually help change some of these laws that has put so-called black males, for the most part, in the position to be marginalized economically, socially, politically, etc., right? But black males, once again, have given 101,000 excuses as far as why they can't do that, or as why it's impossible for them to do that. So what niggas don't understand is that I've been actually trying to get so-called black people, especially black males, to come together and let's get some fucking power in this motherfucker. But these black males don't want to do that. And as a result of us for the past couple of decades being afraid to gain some power in this motherfucker, guess what? You have people like Kanye West, people like Colin Kaepernick, and people like them who end up suffering the consequences for speaking boldly against a group of powerful people without having any power of their own to back themselves up. You niggas are not in a position of power to sit up on a soapbox and speak against a group of people that you rely on to make your money. I mean, what industry do so-called black people have control over? What industry? I mean, so-called black people don't even have control over the genre of music that they've created. Niggas created jazz music, don't have control over it. Niggas created rock music, don't have control over it. Niggas created gospel music, don't have control over it. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. Yeah, yeah. My bad, my bad. I had a little phone call. All right. But yeah. But let me go back to what I was saying. I think niggas created country music. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think niggas even created country music, but don't have any control over that. Niggas created hip hop, but don't have any control over that. Niggas created peanut butter, but don't have control over that. Dude, niggas created peanut butter, but have no control over that shit. I mean, what industry do niggas control? Niggas don't even control the drug industry or this drug industry that they so busy getting caught up, shot up, and being arrested over. Niggas don't even have control over that. What do niggas have control over? So you don't have any power of your own. Most of you are not even trying to even put yourself in a position. Excuse me. Most of you niggas are not even trying to put yourself in a position of power, but yet you guys want to challenge power. Nigga, in order to challenge power, first you must have power your goddamn self. And this is why all these fake black movements always fail. Because these niggas don't have power. You're trying to challenge power without power. That doesn't make any sense. You have to have power in order to be able to challenge power. And Kanye West, or Ye, as he likes to be called, got all this money, or in this case, had all this money. I mean, he still has a lot of money. He still has millions in the bank. He sold all these records. He sold all these sneakers or these shoes. He sold, all these little clothing that he got, that he created, but yet the motherfucker have no power because he has no control over any type of industry. But yet he think he could boldly talk shit about a group of people who control the industry that he's in. And then go as far as to say that he's ready to go DEFCON 3 on them and think that he's not going to suffer no consequences as a result of that? Nigga, please. And then you got the rest of these niggas on the internet who's crying over the consequences that Kanye West is suffering as a result of talking about him going DEFCON 3 on so-called Jews and trying to make him look like the victim. He ain't the victim. He's just a jackass to say some dumbass shit. He's not a victim at all. And then you got these same niggas on the internet that want to intellectually masturbate off of giving this what they think is a breakdown of what Kanye West is going through. Oh, oppression, systematic racism, bullshit. I'm not saying these things don't exist, but these things don't apply to Kanye West because Kanye West shot himself in the foot when he made some stupid ass comment like that. That he's ready to go DEFCON 3 on them. You don't say that shit about a group of people in power who have had a history of blackballing, who have had a history of calling people anti-Semitic, that have made statements against them, thus blackballing them. I mean, can we look at Russell Crowe, for example? I think that's his name, the actor Russell Crowe. No, not Russell Crowe. Not Russell Crowe. I think Mel Gibson. Right? Wasn't he accused of being a quote unquote anti-Semitic? Yeah, I think that was Mel Gibson, right? The actor Mel Gibson. Now you rarely see Mel Gibson making movies. You rarely see him act in any movies. I mean, it's been years since I've seen Mel Gibson in a film. Why? Yeah, Lucy. They tried canceling him. They actually did a good job in actually fucking over Mel Gibson financially. But even Mel Gibson was not dumb enough on making a stupid ass comment saying that he's ready to go DEFCON 3 on Jews. And then you got the Hebrew Israelite community on Facebook. I mean, goddamn. I mean, even though I am from the Hebrew Israelite community, and I do profess to be a Hebrew Israelite because I am one, those are facts, and I'm proud of it. But one thing I'm not proud of is a lot of people within the Hebrew Israelite community being very stupid. It's sad for me to say, but I believe about 90% of the Hebrew Israelite community on the internet are fucking stupid. I truly believe that. I truly believe about 90% of the Hebrew Israelite community on the internet are are dumber than the box of fucking rocks. Because these niggas would sit there and suck the dick of any so-called black person who just say we the real Jews. Even though, yes, so-called black people are actually the true descendants of the historical biblical Israelites. That is true. All right. The descendants of the transatlantic slave trade are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites or the historical Israelites, the true Israelites, right? Yes. But just because some nigga with bipolar disorder who was dumb enough to marry some whore who's walking around wearing shirts talking about white lives matter is making that statement doesn't mean we should waste our time standing up for his dumb ass. No. A Hotep and an Israelite are two different things. See, the thing is, okay, let me tell you guys something, right? A lot of you guys who is not privy to the different schools of thought within the pro-black movement, y'all need to do some research. Hoteps and Israelites are not the same groups of people. Really, Hoteps are people who are into Egyptology. All right? Those who are into Egyptian or ancient Egyptian spirituality. Those who profess to be Hebrew Israelites are not into that form of spirituality. Those who profess to be Hebrew Israelites are those who believe, well, actually, no, because there's facts that back that up, that the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade are the true descendants of the historical Israelites that the Bible speaks of, and believe that there are plenty of prophecies within the Bible and the Torah that prophesies the transatlantic slave trade and prophesies that the Israelites will end up in slavery and spread across the four corners of the globe, living in different countries, being oppressed, being marginalized, and being in the position of poverty, and being in the position of having little to no power at all. And this is the position that modern day black people across the diaspora are in and have been in. We fit those prophecies. Which is why really I don't have any problem with Kanye West actually saying that we're the real descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. But the thing is, so what? And the Hebrew Israelite community on the internet is trying to make it seem as if the reason why Kanye West is receiving all this persecution by the public is because he's telling the truth of us being the true Israelites, and he's exposing what the so-called Jews are doing. No. The reason why he's getting this persecution is because he made a statement on Twitter threatening to kill the small hats. That's the reason why he's receiving this anti-Semitic accusation. Thus, you have companies that want to separate from him. You see, you gotta realize the small hats that you guys want to call, right? I say Ashkenazi Jews. I'm not going to hide who the fuck I'm talking about. Specifically the Ashkenazi Jew, right? Those motherfuckers have organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League, the JDL, the Jewish Defense League. A lot of them have control over almost every major corporation that you see here, especially here on YouTube. Do you guys know that YouTube is owned by an Ashkenazi Jew? All right. YouTube is owned by Google. Google is owned by who? A corporation called Alphabet Inc. Incorporated. Alphabet Incorporated is owned and founded by someone who is an Ashkenazi Jew, I think on his father's side of the family. These people are very powerful. We all know that. Therefore, they have the power to control what we see, to control what we're exposed to control what music that we hear, because they're in control in the music industry. So if you want to be bold and speak up against them, you must be very wise with how you're going to operate and how you're going to conduct yourself when speaking boldly against them. And this is one thing that so-called black people happen to forget when they want to be on a fucking soapbox and try to be the quote unquote real nigga of the world, right? They don't understand they don't understand the principle of operating with wisdom when you're bold enough to stand on something that the majority of society are against. When you boldly speak up against something, you must do it. You could be bold, but you must do it with intelligence. You must be very strategic when speaking up boldly against a group of people in power. And you must also have power by your fucking side, which so-called black people don't know anything about these two things. What's going on, LSP, the Redbone artist? What's up? They don't know that shit. So when these niggas suffer the consequences of A, not having any power to back themselves up when they go against another group of people in power, and B, not moving wisely, so-called the rest of the so-called black masses want to cry and complain about it. Talking about, oh, look what they're doing to them, or what they think is going to happen. When you mess with a group of people in power, they're going to fire back at you. Which once again, I'm going to go back in time and bring up the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. Back in 2016, right, when Colin Kaepernick was in every football game, kneeling down during the national anthem out there in the public, ruffling some feathers and claim that he's doing that in order to quote unquote give attention. Hold on for a minute. All right. When Colin Kaepernick claimed that he was doing that in order to give attention, shit. When he claims that he was doing that in order to give attention to the police brutality and police murder of a lot of black men in America, right? Although at that time, America was already well aware of the death of Eric Garner, they was already aware of the death of Mike Brown, they was already aware of the of um of all the other black males and females that have died at the hand of police. But once again, he wanted to give attention to that shit by kneeling down during the national anthem, thus making a lot of people within the front offices of the NFL upset. So I knew he was going to get blackballed. Even back in 2016, I made a post on Facebook, on my old Facebook account, not this account, this Facebook account I got now. In my old Facebook account, back then when, Colin Kaepernick was so popular amongst niggas on the internet for kneeling against the national anthem, for kneeling in front of the national anthem, I said, what will you niggas do to protect Colin Kaepernick if he's blackballed? And niggas ain't had an answer for that. Niggas did not have an answer for that. I asked niggas another question pertaining to Colin Kaepernick. I asked, what has he done? All this kneeling that he's been doing, in these football games. But have Colin Kaepernick, done anything to protect Colin Kaepernick? But have Colin Kaepernick, done anything to protect Colin Kaepernick? But have Colin Kaepernick, done anything to protect Colin Kaepernick? All this kneeling that he's been doing in these football games. Have he collaborated with other black athletes and entertainers in order to put their money together to lobby politicians to create stricter stipulations on police brutality and police murder? Is Colin Kaepernick collaborating with other so-called black athletes and entertainers to put their money together and opening up companies and businesses in the inner city in order to give people within these areas employment? Is he collaborating with so-called black athletes and entertainers to go into these said communities and speak to the gang members in there and to the street dudes, the hustlers, the drug dealers, and trying to get them to have at least some sort of peace or some sort of ceasefire or some sort of truce for the killings can stop? Is he doing these things? Oh no, he's just kneeling during the national anthem. And you niggas all applauding that shit. And niggas got mad at me when I asked these questions. I don't know why. Because my question was pertaining to actually getting power. Because if Colin Kaepernick was teaming up with other so-called black athletes and entertainers in doing these things would actually help so-called black people to rise above their many, many bad circumstances that they suffer from and actually increase in economic and political power for so they can grow to become a very powerful people in society. And people got mad at me when I asked questions pertaining to power. And these niggas that got mad at me were too stupid to understand that if Colin Kaepernick or any so-called black athlete or anything out there did these things, that they will be more effective in helping black people than going in the football game and just kneeling. I mean, Colin Kaepernick kneeled throughout the whole entire NFL season in 2016. Did it stop any so-called black males from being shot and killed by police? Or did it stop any so-called black female from getting shot and killed by police? No, it did not. But in 2016, these niggas was drinking the Colin Kaepernick Kool-Aid. And you know, Colin Kaepernick, once again, have no real power behind him, but challenging the people in power by doing that, because let's just keep it real. The NFL, for the most part, is a very conservative sports organization where where a lot of the owners and a lot of the top officials within the league in itself lean towards the political right. They're very right wing. Thus, they have this, this phony perception of patriotism. So when you kneel during the American flag, you're making these very powerful people very upset. Thus, you ruffling feathers of people who are very powerful. And when you do that, you better anticipate. You better anticipate these same powerful people getting you back. And how they got Kanye, excuse me, and how did they get Colin Kaepernick back? By blackballing them. I knew that was going to happen. But so-called black people, but the thing is that Colin Kaepernick did not make a wise decision when he decided to do that, because he decided to ruffle some feathers of some very powerful people when he had no power himself in order to back him up, just in case these same powerful people happen to strike back. So he used the wrong strategy to speak boldly against what he believes to be unjust. and he suffered the consequences for it. And instead of so-called black people seeing this and understanding this, they want to cry victim. Oh, it's not fair. Look what they did to Colin Kaepernick. Oh man, that's bad. That's bad. Well, shit, what do you expect? If you want to speak boldly against powerful people, you better expect these powerful people to strike back. And they will strike back at you hard, especially if you're not in a position of power. So, what's the lesson we should learn? That power means everything. No, life's not fair, and life's never going to be fair. That's just the way it is. Therefore, you must put yourself in a position of power in order to be able to speak boldly against something that you believe is wrong. Because when you speak boldly against something that you believe is wrong, you'll be ruffling the feathers of other powerful people. So make sure you have power to back yourself up in order to be able to ruffle the feathers of other powerful people and win. But niggas don't understand that because niggas are too stupid and not strategic. So now we fast forward into 2022, right? We fast forward the time 6 years ahead to right now, 2022. And Kanye West, I would say that Kanye West is a modern day Colin Kaepernick, but here's the thing: Colin Kaepernick was not as stupid as Kanye West because you ain't never heard and you never will hear Colin Kaepernick make a stupid statement such as he's ready to go, DEFCON 3 on Jews. But Kanye West is sort of suffering the same thing, but part of it, well, yeah, he's suffering the same thing because he wasn't strategic enough on how to properly battle against the powerful group of people that he's speaking boldly against. The lack of good strategy and the lack of power to back him up caused him to be in this predicament. And also him making a stupid statement like that caused him to be in this predicament, I mean. Niggas need to fucking wake up and understand the importance of gaining power in this society. I mean, you know what's a damn shame? You know what's a damn shame? That the LGBTQ community understands power more than niggas. And the LGBTQ community, within maybe just the past few years, have been so successful in being able to pass legislation to be on their favor, thus giving them more power in this society. Which is one of the biggest reasons why people are now afraid to use the F word out in public now. You guys know what I mean by the F bomb, and I'm not saying fuck. I don't mean fuck when I was talking about the F word or the F bomb. You guys know what I'm talking about. Because the power of the LGBTQ community made it so that a person could suffer very harshly if someone, especially a person of influence, publicly use that word. This is power. Now you can't really even speak up against the LGBTQ community. Just as much as you can't publicly speak up against the Ashkenazi Jew if you don't have any power of your own to back yourself up, or else you'll be caught up in a bad jam. Because the LGBTQ community understand the power of of them uniting and organizing together to put themselves in a position of economic and political power, thus to be able to control, to have a level of control in society, to the point of the fact that now, if you speak against them, you'll suffer the consequences. But so-called black people have been in America for how long? And have been in the forefront in battling discrimination, but don't understand that the ultimate way to battle discrimination is to have power. For people to be afraid and won't think twice of discriminating against your dumb ass. And if you want to speak boldly against another group of people and speak boldly against the things that they've allegedly have done to so-called black people, then you must be in a position of power yourself in order to do so, to decrease the chances of suffering any financial loss and or your reputation being ruined. Kanye West, aka Ye, didn't understand this. And neither you dumbass niggas that's championing for him on Facebook and YouTube. When you don't have power, this is what's going to happen to your stupid ass. Kanye West is a fucking idiot. And you niggas on the internet that's sucking his dick are bigger idiots than him. Fuck you.